independence throughout the country. However, we don't see a lot of this in the black community. Why do you think that is?
Well, because historically we were not given our independence on the day that our nation received its independence. In the middle of all that, people of color in this country at that time were mostly from Africa. Dark-skinned people we call them African Americans. Then they were called simply Africans, and then by the name of their country on the continent of Africa.
Do you believe that true independence can be realized for people of color in America?
I believe it can, but everything has to change. There's no reason why any other race of people would want to see us independent. For us to be an independent people, we're going to have to take control of our economic system. You can really not have independence if you are dependent on someone else to produce everything you need. So we can achieve that, but our mindset has to change. There must be another paradigm in place for us to do it. We have to start looking within and not so much looking without. We have to realize that if we are going to ever be independent, we're going to have to start circling money and trusting one another. Down through the years of slavery, we were trained, taught, and shown that we would not ever be independent, that we would have to always be dependent on the dominant lord, slave lord. And then all of a sudden, after a war, it wasn't all of a sudden, but kind of like all of a sudden, it's very difficult because of the years of training that we have had inflicted on us, and now it seems automatic in some respects. We'll have to completely change the way we think as a people. We'll have to change our attitude. We'll have to change our trusting of one another. The whole gamut of life will have to change for us. Right now, we are dependent upon everything we get from other ethnicities. We don't have anything that we need in our communities. So in order for us to change and be independent, we'll have to become a people that in our community, everything we need can be obtained. And to do that, we have to really change our economics. We have to realize that if we're going to ever gain independence, we have to begin to circle our monies among ourselves. Back in the day when the nation received independence, they already had resources. Where when we were brought over here, we were brought without resources, never given resources. And at the end of the Civil War, which the country became independent at that time, nobody would bother about us having independence. We're going to have to start realizing that we need one another, and we're going to have to supply one another. Not criticizing, but edifying. Not judging, but edifying. The basic thing we need to do is begin to love who we are and realize that we are somebody and that we have everything we need in our community. We just need to develop it and then realize that we need to touch each other and be responsible for one another's freedom and liberty, prosperity, and the whole 9 yards. We seemingly have no sense of togetherness and working together to make ourselves a free people.
You're teaching currently on a series, Translated to be Transformed, for bringing transformation. Fast forward, let's say into the near future, hopefully, to when the principles of transformation are being executed. What does that transformation look like with us as a people in the future?
You mean in its conclusion or during the process? In its conclusion, it looks very much like America is today. You got to realize that what I have is to give away. Now, I might get paid for it, because I have needs. But just like who I'm giving it to, they might get paid. They're getting paid for what they give away. But we got to start seeing I am my brother's keeper.
If you would, speak to the person who is saying right now, well, I'm doing okay, I have a good job, I live in a really nice community, and things are going well with me. I have friends that are black, I have friends that are white. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with my life right now. Speak to that person.
Most people of color who live in situations like that haven't really taken the time to study economics among the ethnic groups. For sure, you can live beside someone, maybe not in your ethnicity, but if you check the economics, their wealth, the power of their wealth is percentage points farther and better than yours would be as a person of color. So while you are in debt and accruing more debt as a black person, say, they are still building their wealth. Right at the end of the Civil War, when slaves were freed, black people owned about 1% of the wealth of America. I was reading something last week, and it says now they own about 1.4 of what the wealth of America is. So we really haven't moved.
So the disparity is still the same?
It's still the same. The way that is, the way that came to be was at the end of that war, inheritance taxes began to be in effect. So during that whole period of slavery, slaves were building wealth for the white America. And at the end of the war, while we were building that wealth for white America, we were passing on poverty. We had no wealth. So when the war ended, and all of the resources were wrapped up in white America, and then they started passing it down through inheritance laws. Well, what did we have? What did our forefathers have to pass to us? Poverty. So poverty is being passed down from generation to generation still, and we have to change that. Just start. While you just praying, give me, Lord, give my name. Start praying and asking God, Lord, what you given me, show me how to help to a person. Show me how to give it away. We need each other. I need you. You need me. What is it? We're happy we can be a wild party. What she say? We're all a part of God, but I thought you said a wild party or something. We're all a part of God today.
In the transformation and moving forward as a people into our independence, how do you see that bringing the nation together in unity, or do you just see this division being in the fabric of the society?
I don't think that division is a major problem. People are gonna gravitate together. If you give them a chance, people are gonna gravitate together. It's just the way it is. The problem is every other ethnic group produces for itself. us being taken from our homeland and stripped of all of our wealth, and then couldn't build wealth during the slavery years and during Jim Crow, we're being asked to compete against economies that we don't control. So we are really being asked to play a game of Monopoly without having been given $1,500 to start the game. So when we were freed at the end of the Civil War, and everybody said that they were not going to pay us as an ethnic group to start an economy, then we were doomed to go back onto slavery. And we got to beat that now by just coming together and realizing the problem and get to work on it.
And coming together, finally, Pastor, speak to the people of color in this nation. What are the positives that we can move forward now and into being transformed?
Oh, man. Our people that have money, movie stars, the professional basketball players, the professional football players, we're professional sports figures, and those that just have accrued wealth, once they realize that there are trillions of dollars to be made supplying the needs for us to come together as a people and own things that we can sell, like monies and sports talents and all of those kind of things. Once they realize that they are financial leaders in a community that is wide open for commerce, and start loving each other, loving their ethnicity, and wanting to meet needs of people who are in their family. When I say family, I'm talking about ethnic family, and realize that can make them multi-millionaires by producing what their people need and selling it to them at decent cost.
Finally, let's look at this. Can we just take it in a different approach? If, let's say that all those people are looking into the, that they're watching you right now. When you talk directly to them, when you make an appeal directly to them about what you just said, directly to the ones who have the money, directly to the people that are.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to just millionaires. I mean, a person who just valued at $1 million with land and resources. Just having $1 million without putting that to work in a resource, then you're gonna soon be without that $1 million. But I would like to speak to people who have money to invest. The number one place to invest it is in the black community, if that's your ethnic group. Now, I don't have a problem with other ethnic groups because they are already understanding that principle that you have to take care of yourself, and yourself being the ethnic group that you are. Most people call me a racist. I'm really not a racist according to definition of what most people think racist is. I do believe that we ought to be able to be self-sufficient, because we'll never be respected until we are self-sufficient as a people. Nobody respects anybody that they have to take care of, that's coming to them for handouts all the time. And the only reason we have to do it is because we haven't realized that God blessed us to serve our generation. That's what David realized and said in the Word. So God prepared them with talents and abilities and all of that to get money into their hands. So now if they are just reinvested in their ethnic group, it has the potential to quadruple their money.
Any final words to the youth, to the black youth of this country?
If I could talk to all the youth of this country, my thing would be start to realizing the value of education. Education is much needed, and when we realize why we need to be educated, then I think we'll get in a better spirit and taste for education. And we need to be educated so that we can get our needs met in our own country, in our own neighborhoods rather. We need doctors, nurses, lawyers. Black people have so much stolen from them during the course of a year simply because they don't have lawyers that's looking out for them as ethnic groups, as family members. I'm not saying your family has to have a lawyer, but I'm saying we have to see each other as sisters and brothers like other ethnic groups see themselves. And then we have to realize if we're going to build and become productive, we got to have engineers, we got to have accountants, and all of those things working for the good of the community. Now, some people going to have to going to have to step back a notch or two in their living stand, in their living monies to get these things, to get money to invest. But that the investment will be well worth the time and the effort that it'll take to get this thing started.
So our independence as a people is pretty much based in education and us galvanizing our finances together to propel us as a people forward in this nation. Is that what you said?
Very definitely. We can't get it done without education. And we're going to have to realize as well that you have to have peace in your community if you're going to ever prosper in that community. You can't make money consistently without peace from the people that you are trying to help and bring up.